So we actually were app developers. I started this company called Sonalite before Amplitude. It was a voice recognition app that helped you send and receive text messages by talking to your phone. And as part of that, we had spent all this time developing analytics because we really wanted to understand how customers were using our product. It was obvious to us that you would look at the data to make sure that you were creating the best user experience. So you'd see what people were doing, where they got stuck, what kept them coming back, and lots of other things about the user experience. When it came time to move on from Sonalite, we ended up turning that into Amplitude in 2012. We launched the company in 2014, and we've been growing since. We've expanded Amplitude from an analytics product to do lots of things outside of that, including A/B testing and experimentation, session replay, guides and surveys, activation and targeting, and lots more. Most recently, what we're working on is helping you helping you get insight and take action in an automated fashion with AI, with things like automated insights. We also have our AI agents launch coming up in the next few months that we're really excited about as well. In terms of big milestones, I think Amplitude was originally built on the growth and success of the mobile ecosystem. So we saw mobile taking off like crazy in 2012, where usage was growing and doubling every year. So there were more users growing in the US and Europe. There were people coming online for the first time in Asia and Africa through mobile, and the total amount of time people were spending was increasing, doubling year over year. And so that was a signal to us that there was a new version of infrastructure needed to serve all of those mobile app developers. Today, I remember back then it was almost a joke that people would look down on mobile apps and think you can't do real work, but today it's actually the primary medium that we engage digitally. And so it's really exciting to see that change over the last 10 years. We're launching our AI agents product. AI agents is like having 100 product manager interns working for you, constantly using Amplitude to uncover insights and improve your product. So let me give you an example of how that works. You give it a high-level task, like you want to optimize a particular action, like conversion rate, and then it will go through all your pages and come up with different strategies for each of those pages on how you might improve that. It'll do that by analyzing the session recordings of people using those pages and seeing things like dead clicks or rage clicks or where they might encounter errors or frustrations, and then make adjustments on making recommendations on adjustments to how you might change those pages. Once it has those recommendations, it'll actually create new variants of your website or application that have better engagement or better conversion or just a better experience overall for those users. And so what we're doing here is fast tracking and automating the process of product management end to end to make it a lot more effective so that your product manager can do 10 or 100 times the amount that they're able to do today. What's really exciting is that this data is even at our best customers, only a small percentage of the data in Amplitude gets leveraged all the time. And so this is like having each product manager having hundreds of analysts that are constantly combing through it, looking for insights and ways to improve that product experience. Retention is always the most important by far. You want to create an experience that people value and come back towards. And so there's this philosophy, there's so much to optimize in a product. Where do you start? You always want to start with your best, most successful users. So the ones that are furthest down the funnel, that are power users, that are really engaged, that are excited about your product, make the experience great for them. If you can make the experience great for them, then it's easy to add more and more and more to that over time. And so always start with retention and then work your way backwards in the funnel from retention to conversion, to activation, to acquisition, because it's no use in acquiring a group of users if they're not going to convert and just churn out of the product. And so always start the furthest down the funnel and work your way backwards from there. So there's actually the great thing is today there's no trade-off between understanding your user's behavior and making sure to be compliant from a privacy standpoint. Amplitude supports fully anonymous tracking where you don't have to have any personally identifiable information in Amplitude, and you can still understand what your users are doing and how they're navigating through the application. You just need to find some way to anonymously tag them, and that all works. The other big thing is we've seen a focus on first-party data over third-party data. So first-party data is data that you are creating by using the application. And I think people are totally great with that. Like, everyone expects Netflix to recommend you shows based on what you've watched before, or expects Decathlon to recommend you sports equipment based on what you've bought before. Whereas I think where people have a real problem from a privacy standpoint is you getting data on those users from other sources across the web. And that's where people don't like it, and there's been a lot of focus on the privacy standpoint. So we're big fans of first-party data on Amplitude, and encourage companies to do that in a privacy compliant way, and help lots of great companies do that today. I think we are at the very beginning of this. I think while there's been a lot of hype in AI and digital analytics, there's been very little results. We're excited to be one of the first company, frankly, to do anything meaningful in digital analytics beyond code generation. So actually having AI be able to analyze the user journey, come up with insights, see where users are frustrated, summarize it, create strategies, and then take action all for you. And so very, very excited to do that. I think we're going to see the way people use analytics change drastically over the next few years.